Right now, and only on the record, you will hear from Vicki Gardner. Vicki was the sole survivor when a gunman opened fire on live television. That gunman murdering TV reporter Alison Parker and her photographer Adam Ward.
It was just rapid fire. I just don't know.
A reporter and her cameraman were murdered on live TV.
These two reporters were only doing their job, and they didn't even and could not even see it coming.
Movement and then gunfire. Lots and lots of gunfire.
It all happened live on TV.
He had a lot of anger. He had a lot of mental issues.
My heart just goes out to Alison and Adam, and they're so young. They, why save me and take them?
The whole nation is mourning tonight.
Obviously, there's a purpose, and by golly, I will fulfill it.
Gardner watched that horrifying scene as both the WDBJ reporter and photographer were murdered right next to her. But she was not the only one who watched the murder. It was broadcast live on television. Vicki remembers everything and is telling her story for the first time.
We were lined up and we were talking and what are we going to do and just our usual fun conversation. And Adam's all set up in front of me and Alison was alongside of me. And we saw a motion, and I don't want to go so much into this because it's already been said over and over and over again, but we did see a motion that seemed a little unusual. We couldn't quite place it. Was it somebody looking for something? Was it somebody that maybe was here for maintenance that wanted to ask a question? And my thought was, is he going to ask a question while we're talking on air? I just didn't know.
You noticed him while you were live. That was the first time you noticed him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That was it.
And just where was he when you first noticed him? Was he straight ahead from you, or?
I was again. He was just kind of coming down the walkway next to the rail, and I just saw movement. You were paying attention to the camera, and you have the peripheral, and that's what I saw. Sort of boxy. I can't describe it. Obviously, he was in full armor, so that may explain the boxy. And then.
So what did you see next then?
He basically came up behind. We're talking, and again, it was a tiny bit of a distraction, probably more than I would even recognize. But then it was just very, very fast, and I saw movement, and then gunfire, lots and lots of gunfire, and from that point, it was very chaotic. I realized that Adam was down in front of me and Alison was not to the side of me any longer. And so I'm really, and I won't say face to face because I can't say that I was looking at him. I was not trying to make eye contact. And so the only thing I could think of is play dead. And so as the fire was happening, he doesn't know who he's hitting or who he is not hitting, and I don't think. And I just fell to the ground as though I had been hit and went into fetal position because I felt as though he was going to shoot me in the head. And so I needed to hide that. So if he thought he already had, but he did come back up and shot me in the back. And which I thought went through my spine, and thankfully, again, I have so many angels around me or something that it didn't happen that way. But and then it was very quiet. It was just very quiet. I don't know whether he tried to fire off a couple more rounds. I was just concentrating on being so still that he wouldn't shoot me again. And then it was quiet. And it was early in the morning, and there really wasn't anyone around, not understanding quite. This had happened live. It didn't register for me. I didn't know how badly I was bleeding, but I was on a deck, and so, obviously blood would go down rather than pool on a deck. There's a lot of unknowns. It seemed like a very, very long time, which it wasn't, of laying there and looking over and trying to assess the situation, and then I heard the police come in, and two people came in with their guns, still not knowing where the shooter was, not trying to secure the area, trying to assess our situation of the 3 people laying there, and realizing that I was alive, they said, "Can you get up?" And didn't know I could or couldn't, but we got up and they tried to, while securing, while holding their guns, while looking, while 2 men doing all of this and trying to help me to safety, and went into a truck. And then it was so that I would be somewhat secure while they're risking their lives out there. And then the emergency vehicle came, and all was well.
Did the killer say anything, or did he just came up silently?
Very silent, very silent, very. That's all. That's all. It was just, a unanticipated, and you can review it and probably talk it over 18 times, and each time it will be the thought that goes through, did I read this well? Thankfully, I felt like I read it well enough that I dropped. Because had I continued to stand there, I would not be here talking to you.
We don't get much time to think about that stuff.
No, you really don't. And again, a lot of thoughts. My heart just goes out to Alison and Adam, and they're so young. They, why save me and take them? But obviously there's a purpose, and by golly, I will fulfill it.
So Adam was shot first or second?
I believe first. It was, again, when you're looking at, and it was just rapid fire, all in this direction. It wasn't down. It was just right face-wise. How he missed me, I just don't know.
But if you drop down, is it he does face level
I
of
think
the other
everybody
2?
was gone when I dropped.
And then he shot you.
He came back, I believe, came back by me and shot me.
So as sort of an afterthought.
Sort of, just in case,
And said nothing.
Nothing.
Never a word, not a scream.
No. So it was again tragic. There's we have a long way to go on understanding what would possess somebody to have that much anger.
Any idea or concept of how long you were lying there next to Adam and Alison before anyone else showed up?
That is the million-dollar question. I think it was 5 minutes. I don't know, because the television station called into 911, and they immediately picked that up. They're just right up the street, and so they were there quickly. It seemed forever, but it probably wasn't.
But even 5 minutes is forever in a situation like that.
It is forever
even
when
a
you
minute.
don't know how badly you're bleeding, and you don't know the situation of the 2 people next to you. Is there something that can be done for them?
And you don't know if he's coming back.
And you don't know if he's coming back, and you don't know if he's around the corner, and it's terror. That's all.
Have you seen that video? You've seen the video? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Why? Just curious?
So that when we have our interview, I would be able to piece together in my mind, so that I can put my mind at peace, that I'm not conjuring up something that wasn't. You might just as well, you can't take this and bury it. You've got to, there'll be a long path.
See, I watched that video, and I have to confess, I've watched it a couple times, and it's just, to me, it's the most horrible.
It is.
It's like, videotaping a double homicide and a shooting.
That's exactly right. Yep. And the helplessness of it.
What went through your mind as you watched it?
I just watched it.
Just watched it?
I just watched it. I took it in.
Did it feel real?
Nope.
Felt like you're watching somebody else?
No. It just felt like, sometimes you can just put a blank screen in front of things, that you can put a veil over something. I put a veil over it, and needed to watch it. And I'll probably, over the course of time, over the course of healing, who knows what your mind's going to do. Minds are just, able to take you in any direction that you. So let's just get the facts. Let's do it right. Let's move from there.
Is it a good thing that he killed himself, the killer, so that there's no trial and continuing sort of drama on this? Is that a good thing?
I don't know. He did what he did. It certainly does take an awful lot of the drama out of it, doesn't it? It's over, that part of it. There's a lot of things to piece together. If he was here, it'd be a completely different scenario, but I can't paint that picture. I don't know what that picture would be. I don't think it'd be any more pleasant.
When the whole thing was sort of going down, did fear grip you, this whole thing, or did it just happen too fast, the shooting? I mean, what
It happened fast. I was very, very surprised of one thing. And, I'll tell you what it was, because it still surprises me, is that I was laying down. I realized it was quiet and everybody was down, and I didn't know where he was. I felt as though the next shot, I knew the next shot he was just going to shoot me in the head, because that was what he was doing. And it didn't fire or whatever. He shot me in the back, and I was waiting for him to shoot me in the head. When he shot me in the back, I said, I'm going to be paralyzed, darn. And then I waited, and then I said, and it goes real quick. They say, oh, your mind, world goes in front of you. And it did real fast, and I said, I'm ready. I'm ready. So I was really very much at ease had it happen. I felt, I didn't want it. No. But I wasn't in like an, oh my gosh. It just went through, and I said, I've had a good life. And that was that. And then it didn't, and so I'm happy. Happy to be here.